Hey guys, I want to welcome you back to the Sensu Pop channel for a very special video. I am very excited about this video because I have a very special guest here with me. He is Silk, and you need to know something about Silk. Silk is one of those players that I really inspire to be. The reason is that you know, I always like to go to tournaments and I play what I want to. However, I never really get to win because a lot of this meta deck just hit me on my head with like a bat, like bonk. But Silk is one of those type of players that goes to a tournament and not just that he plays whatever he wants to play. He doesn't really play meta like Vegex or Reboot Gohan. He doesn't do it. He plays whatever he wants to play, and at the same time he wins. And not that just winning like top 10. He really just tops the event like that. So it's my pleasure, my honor to introduce you my special guest for today, and he will be taking us through his deck profile that he brought to our recent European Finals tournament, and he came in second. So Silk, take it over.
Hey guys, thank you for having me on the channel. Obviously really happy to be here. I love Senzu's channel, and I've met him a couple of times in person, and he's just an absolutely great guy, so it's a real honor to be here. I was going to cover the deck on my own channel, but I've already done a couple of blue baby decks on my channel, so yeah, you know, Senzu said, how about I do it? And I said, yeah, why not?
I really want to cover your deck. Your deck is the one that I really want to cover, because this is not, you know, like all these decks that we have already seen it before. Because Blue Baby topping an event, we have never seen this before, and you came in first runner-up, right?
Yeah, so I was undefeated, and I was on the final table for the final round, but unfortunately the only problem we had with the Cardmarket event was that they told us it would be 60 minutes. So we all guessed it'd be 60 minutes, then 10 minutes time at the end for a best of 3. But they actually then on the day said, actually it's 50 minutes for a best of 3 with 10 minutes at the end. So I chose to play blue, and obviously we all know that blue is a little bit slower than other types. So unfortunately on the final round I got a draw, which meant that the guy on the second table, which was Mert, I don't know how to say his name. Either way, Mert's an incredible player, but he ended up getting one more point than me, so he came first. So massive congrats to him. I came second, but I was undefeated. So yeah, it was a pretty good event. It was a really good event. I'm very happy with how my deck performed. So yeah, definitely.
Yeah, I'm really excited for you to take us through how to play your deck, because I really want to play it myself too. And why not you talk a little bit about your deck and your card choices? Bring us through, like, how do you pilot this? If people who wants to play this, like baby players who wants to be like Baby God Junior, Silk is the Baby God. So we cannot take the title away from him. All of us can inspire to be like him, but we gonna be settled with like lesser title, like Baby God Junior or something like that.
Okay, well, I really appreciate that. It's a cool title to have. So the deck itself is pretty self-explanatory. The baby leader archetype is very easy. He basically relies on stopping your opponent doing anything. So my deck is full of counters, full of counter plays, and there's a couple of counters in there. For me, I didn't feel like this version had as much spice as other previous versions, but that's mainly because I actually concentrated on, you know what, I want to take this event. I want to win this event, which, you know, I came close, but I didn't quite do. So I'll talk you through ways that I like to pilot. I see a lot of blue baby players kind of negating at the beginning of the games. They negate every attack that comes at them straight away, try and take their own life in a different way, which I don't feel is the right way to do it. I don't really negate unless it's a critical attack. If someone swings at me with a critical hit, I'll negate that attack. Otherwise, I don't really bother until I'm at 4 life and I can awaken. If they're swinging at me as many times as they want, Vegex can swing at me 6 times in a row. As long as they're not critical, I don't care. Like, I will take that life until I get to 4. And then I'll awaken. And from being awakened, it is incredibly hard to get baby down from 4, 3, or 2. Once you're at that point in the game, if you wanted to, you can literally stop your opponent doing anything. So I got a couple of I'll talk you through a couple of the tech choices that I might be a little bit different than others. So I play
maybe a clarification over here. You mentioned to the viewers, right, that you said that, okay, you don't mind taking damages, but is there like a balance for you between taking too much damage when you are at only 1 energy? Because
yeah, okay, so I see what you mean. So no, honestly, the only time there's an issue is depending on what your opponent is playing. So for example, if you're playing against Red Broly, you don't want to be at 2 life, because the last attack that they will do, the last set of attacks they will do, will all be double strike crits. Okay, so you want to stay at least 3 life. If you can get to 3, when you get to 3 life, stop them doing anything, then start negating your attacks. Again, other cards are a lot of other decks are double strikers as well. If they're triple strikers, like Reboot Gohan, stay at 4 life if possible, where possible. So that's where I would say there's taking too much. But on 1 energy, if I get down to 3 life against most decks, I don't really mind. I honestly do not really mind, as long as the majority of the cards I have taken go to my hand, not crit. Okay. Does that make sense?
Okay. All right.
So a couple of the tech choices I had. I play the SSB Tenacious Goku, which when I'm playing against blue, it allows me to swing and take my own life. That blue aren't going to try and awaken you quickly, so that gives you more chances to get the card to your hand. People often say, like, why don't you play Talent Pan and things like that? Well, the reason I don't play Pan is because that 1 drop actually allows me to search the top 7 cards in my deck to get my unison. I think people have noticed that the unison I run is very different to a lot of other people's.
Yeah.
I absolutely love this unison in the deck. There's a few reasons. One reason, it's like a sponge. It's permanent, which allows you to, if you have a blue Saiyan in rest mode, you don't take damage from attacks. That is absolutely incredible in lots of situations, and it can be very clutch at times as well. It's like +1 is rest one of your own cards and then you gain 1, and it's -2 is -2 draw a card, put one of your opponent's cards back into the bottom of their deck if it's got higher energy cost than the amount of energy they've got out. So this unison, honestly, this unison is probably the MVP of the deck. The amount of times that people have swung, leaving my unison on board, swung at my leader, thinking that they're gonna either put me at critical damage, as in like they can kill me with 1 more swing or with a burn effect or something like that. They've comboed their whole hand, and then I simply just go activate battle, rest, go tanks, and then I've got a blue Saiyan in rest, and I take no damage, and they've wasted their whole hand. That has saved me 3, 4, I can't even count the amount of times that one little trick has saved me. You know, it's a really powerful unison in this deck. So it's a unison I like to try and get out on turn 2 if I can. Sorry, not turn 2, turn 3, so I still have 1 energy open to negate attack going towards it. So yeah, it's a really good unison.
Okay, so to give the audience what Silk is talking about is regarding this Gotenks card, Return of the Reaper of Justice, activate battle. If you have a unison card in play, you can play this card from your rest mode, and because combined with the permanent of this unison card, basically your leader does not take any damage because you have a Saiyan card in rest mode. Wow. Yeah, this is incredible.
Yeah, it's a really nice little combo, and it really does catch people off guard. Like even seasoned players, I found a lot of players would concentrate on your unison, and then they can't get through it, so they just go swing at the leader, and you're like, yeah, okay, and then they go, oh no, oh yeah, I forgot, you can't take damage, because they're trying to work out a way around the baby, like the leader is the ability and the counters and things. You do put a lot of pressure on your opponent. Every time they try and do something, you pressure and penalize them for doing it. So a lot of my cards are counter plays. So If they try and counter play something that's going to cause a lot of damage to you, you just counter play it. If they try and attack you, you counter attack, meaning that as aggressive as your opponent is, allows you to return the favor just as aggressively. It's a very powerful deck, and I think when people learn to master this deck, you'll see a lot of really cool interactions that you can do.
Okay, a question for me is that if, for example, you let a deck like Vegex that run really wide in the early turns, if they have things that are on the board, how do you clear the board? How do you manage the board of your opponent?
The funny thing is, you don't need to. So if we talk about Vegex, so Vegex is a really strong type at the moment, but it does fail quite hard to babies. So for example, we'll talk about the fact that the guy who won played Vegex. In the round before, he lost to me. It was a quick 2-0 as well. It was a good game, but at no point did the Vegex player have control of the game. The reason is, yes, they can get a lot of cards out at the beginning, right? So Vegex take their own life as well as most decks in the format now. So when they get their Unison on board, it's only 5k. So I use my leader to swing at the Unison. I make sure I kill the Unison as quickly as possible because they don't get their effects and I don't need to give them cards to their hand. So they only get their Unison on board. They get a Vegeta. They get lots of the little 1-drops, yes. And they get Trunks as well, I think, for free. The rest of the cards they have to be able to play with Overrealm or something like that. So the Overrealm cards I can get rid of with Hit if they're going to play Demigra. So Hit gets rid of Demigra. If they're going to play other cards, so does the Big Baby as well, sorry. If they're going to play other cards that are smaller, then my Baby Diabolic Parasite gets rid of them. So I don't mind how many cards they get out on the board because they will not kill me before turn 5. Now, turn 5, by that time, I will have usually seen my Unison, my second Unison. My second Unison allows me to pop all cards on the field back to the opponent's hand. And they can't attack again in the next turn without sacking off something that costs 2 or more. So this is the SS4 Goku Unison. I play that a lot of the time on turn 5 or turn 6. Because my deck does draw a lot with the draw rapes, intersecting fates, draw leader. Like it draws a lot, so I find myself will usually draw into it, and that's quite good. So I use that to pop their board back to their hand, and then again they have to play all them cards, and I can do it again the turn after, and then I will usually end the game with turning the tide. So because the cards will be back in their hands, and then I Android 17 turning the tide, and they're already at 4 or so life, and I usually have enough board to just kill them off like that. You don't need to worry about controlling the board too much, as long as you keep attacking their Unison, and if they haven't got a Unison out, they're going to have attacked you anyway, so you attack the cards in rest mode. Just keep board control. Don't worry about swinging for the leader, just swing for the stuff on the board, unless you have no choice and you have to swing for a leader.
Okay.
Yeah, that's probably the most effective way to play Baby.
All right. And a question for you. How do you play the Baby Golden Avenger? Because usually how people play that is they have the other Unison, that Baby Unison.
Yeah.
And then they discarded 2 cards and then they play this for free. How do you play this in your deck?
So the reason I don't use the other Unison is just for hand size. Like a lot of Baby players I see, they play the way they play, as I said, they negate early, they combo off cards, and they waste quite a lot of cards in their hands. I try and replace a lot of my cards with Revenge Big Bang Attack, or so it's one for one, or my apes. I make sure I draw 2, blah blah blah. So I keep my hand size quite high. A lot of people who play against me notice that I keep my hand size quite high. So what I tend to do is I will use the 4-drop Baby Saiyan Slayer. So I'll swing into the leader, say turn 5 or turn 6, swing into their leader or their battle card. If they negate, I counter. If they don't, and I've used all my attacks and they still haven't negated, I will simply tap 4 for the cost of the Baby Saiyan Slayer, look at the bottom card of the deck. It will usually be the Golden Ape Avenger, and I play it. And then playing it that way, I get the effect of putting a card to the bottom of their deck and I draw a card. Or if I think they're going to do a big play the turn after, instead of doing that, I'll keep all my energy up. And as long as I don't think I'm going to be get hit by a foo, then I'll simply keep my 5 energy up, wait till they play a card that's relatively big, and then I'll counter play the big baby Golden Age Avenger. So he comes out, the card that's being played stays in the opponent's hand, and then I get to put a card to the bottom of their deck anyway. So.
Right, that sounds pretty good. Well, the question I believe that is on everybody's head is no Senzu Bean?
No Senzu Bean. No. It's not needed. I'm guessing you're talking about for the fact of these the new 1-drops, yeah?
No, it's because if you play blue, you play Senzu Bean. That is always the that is always what we always said, right? Okay, if you play a deck and you have no super combo,
yeah. Yeah, I get that. Well, the thing is with Baby has so much utility in terms of counter attacks, counter plays, even a few counter. You genuinely don't need Senzu Bean. I saw a few people talking about Senzu Bean to counter these new 1-drops that have been released in the draft box. Mm-hmm. But honestly, like, my side deck deals with that very well. The 1-drops aren't really as much of a problem as I first thought they were going to be. Don't get me wrong. I really, really don't think the 1-drops needed to be printed, but they were, and there's nothing we can do about that. So my side deck is quite dedicated to that. I have the two Bulmers that are 1-drop counter plays. They're quite nice. Final Hope Slash, and then I have my little tech, which is the 3-star Dragon Ball.
Oh,
the
yeah,
3-star
that was
Dragon
a
Ball.
very interesting one.
Yeah, the 3-star Dragon Ball. I only used it in one game. I used it to make my Gohan swing at their lead, swing at their 1-drop, 25k into a 4k. It was, they weren't comboing out of that, and then it, preceded me to win the game. So yeah.
What about Towa, Twisted Sister?
For Koitsuku.
Okay, to remove that guy.
Yeah, so when the only deck I was worried about Koitsuku in was Vigex. So my plan is they mill the 5, they see Koitsuku or Koitsukai, whatever it's called. They then play with their effect, and as soon as they're playing with their effect, I tap 1, Toa the Twisted Sister, shuffle Koitsukai back into their deck. They then can't use it against me. I still have the energy to be able to do. Oh, and it replaces itself, and I still have the energy to do my counter attacks, counter plays, and things like that.
All right, that sounds really, really good.
Yeah, it was a really nice little combo I used there. I liked that one.
You really got me excited to really also want to pick up this baby and play. There were people in my channel who's asking, take a look at the baby deck, and I always think that, it's a little bit too slow in all this counterplaying, but you change the way that this deck can be played, and not just change it, you prove it that it is actually really, really good. So this is Silk's undefeated baby deck. Silk, do you have anything to say to the viewers before we finish this video up?
I just wanted to say thank you for having me on the channel. Obviously, there was a little bit of a kerfuffle on the, people talked about things and stuff, but actually, me and the guy that there was a kerfuffle with, we've chatted, and he'll be happy to say the same thing as well. The only problem we had in the match was language barrier. Unfortunately, he explained himself he doesn't speak English too well, and his brother wasn't able to help him on the day with English. So when I was asking him a question, he was getting aggravated. I was getting aggravated because no one understood the other player, and it was a real shame. And then, so we had a really good match. We've made friends. We're looking forward to playing each other again. I really enjoyed that Cardmarket tournament. I'd honestly recommend, I know a lot of players, for example, a lot of American players don't like playing in webcam events. I understand it, I do, but at the end of the day, it's the only format we have at the moment. And it's if you're a good player, adapt to it. At the end of the day, people say, yeah, people can cheat, or it's not the same. It's not the same, but we don't have real life events anymore.
Correct.
And at the moment, and unfortunately, Bandai have said, you know what, we'll use webcam events. And you know what, I had a lot of fun. I met a lot of cool people, and yeah, I really think that if you can adapt yourself to the new types of games, you'll become a better player in general. And if anyone wants to ask me any questions, feel free. I'll keep checking out the video on the channel.
Yep. And also, guys, I really recommend you to go and hop over to Silk's YouTube channel. Links will be down in the description below. One of the best players that we have in Europe, and he is literally Baby God. Why Baby God? Silk, what did you play in last year finals? He was also last year finals.
Yeah, so since I've played Dragon Ball, I've played Red Baby. I've played the Vegeta Baby leader. I've topped every event except 2 that we had. The only event I didn't top was I played Meta Cooler for a joke, and I got top 32. But that was again in a European finals, and then I went on to win the teams anyway. But yeah, I've played Red Baby. I've played Baby forever. Like, everyone's known me as Baby. When Baby was dead in the meta, I picked it up and I still played it. I've always played decks that people have kind of said, no, they're not good. I won the London finals with it. I got 5th in Coventry with it. The first Europeans we ever had, I played Baby. I got invited to Brussels, played Baby. I've played Baby everywhere. So that's why I got that name, I guess.
So the best, one of the best player, and also really the best Baby player out there. So thank you so much, Silk, for coming onto this channel. It's my pleasure. This is really a very interesting deck, and all the questions that I ask you, I genuinely wanted to know the answer because it looks so fun, it looks so interesting, and thank you for just bringing a different type of play and a different type of decks into the games, and to show people that it can work also. That is really nice. And guys, this would be the end of the video. Like I said again, send some love from this channel to Silk's channel. Link will be down below. Check him out, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Alright, ciao, bye.